What up, guys? My name is Kyle, hanging out with some of the top crypto influencers in the space. We got DIDI from the Bitcoin family, got Chris from MMcrypto, Carl from the Moon, and myself, and my home dog Rupert over here. Today we're going to be covering some of the most important things that you want to know about, from the price of Bitcoin at the end of the next bull run. We're going to cover what it's like to live on a tropical island and work from here. Also, we're going to cover the collapse of the US dollar, what that might be like, or a global economic collapse. And at the very, very end, each of them will be giving you some of their own personal pro tips, you know, from lessons that they've learned in the industry, from being in it for such a long time. So let's jump into it.
Short intro, my name is DIDI, also known as the guy who was crazy enough to sell his house and go all in Bitcoin a few years ago. Traveling the world with my wife and spreading the word about the true fundamentals of Bitcoin blockchain.
Yeah, and I'm Carl from the Moon. I am a YouTuber making one video every day about Bitcoin, spreading the word about the importance of Bitcoin as a form of money in this crazy economy where money is no longer money, it's actually just paper. So yeah, spreading the word about Bitcoin every day.
And I'm Chris from MMcrypto. Just type in MMcrypto on YouTube, you will find our channel. And yeah, we are also traveling the world, just like DIDI, speaking at conferences, meeting new people, especially in Copenhagen, the probably best island for crypto networking, digital nomads. And yeah, on our channel we talk every day about Bitcoin, about some altcoins, about the economy, the monetary policy, and everything what's going wrong in the economy, and how Bitcoin is actually solving many of these problems.
Yeah, and I'll just do a little intro myself. I'm Kyle. Our holding company is Master Ventures, and yeah, I've been in the space since 2012, but came back in aggressively, and here comes time. This is Rupert. This is my dog. You might recognize him from Chris's video.
Crypto Rupert.
Crypto Rupert. And I think one of the goals of Rupert is we should make him appear in everybody's video, every influencer's video. DIDI, did you video with Rupert?
Yeah, we are going to chill Dogecoin.
Hi, buddy.
This guy has more followers on Instagram than most of the crypto influencers.
The business since 2012. I've built a bunch of stuff. I had the world's first Bitcoin-based lottery. I am a Bitcoin not maximalist, but believe in it as a fundamental, sound form of money and store of value. Whether it's going to be the peer-to-peer electronic cash that we all use, could be. But I do predominantly ever since 2013 I was all in Bitcoin, and so I still hold predominant amount of my holdings in Bitcoin. And I also felt like so while we're here, thank you guys for hosting us here today at this villa, this beautiful villa, for a crypto family dinner. But I guess the first thing we can talk about is just kind of why we're all here today. As we become more independent, we have the ability to become more independent, as we don't need to go into offices anymore to do our work. We have laptops and the internet, and we become, and more this is happening all across all offices and industries. That's great. It gives us a lot of independence, but also at the same time, it's creating a lot of loneliness, because people don't have, before people went to the office and had that interaction with colleagues there. I felt a tremendous amount of loneliness and isolation when I was in Chicago, in the States, and all I wanted to do was talk about crypto and Bitcoin, and nobody else that was around me wanted to talk about these things, and this was actually after I retired, that I really had 2 destructive years, because all I wanted to do was talk about what we're doing, and I couldn't. So when I got back in, I decided in 2018 to get back in the industry. Couple of goals. One was to build cool things. 2 was to educate, which is what all of us are trying to do, which is amazing. Thank you guys, and make sure that the space evolves in the right direction. So when I came back to the crypto community, I felt like a tremendous load had been lifted off my shoulders, and I wanted to remain in that environment at all times. So I actually didn't even go back to the States. I just went from conference to conference to conference. And then it got exhausting, and I realized it wasn't sustainable, that we couldn't do it forever. So I thought that, well, maybe like a community that's like a conference environment would be a good idea to have a place that's always operating 24/7, 365. And I've been coming here, Copenhagen, for 16 years now, and it calls my name every time. And I meet amazing people on this island all the time, like DIDI, that also see the magic of this island. And so this is where I think that we want to plant roots and create a first community. And I don't know, maybe you guys can give me a story about, you know, how you feel about what I just said, the isolation and also being in the community, and what brought you here, what you like about this place,
Well, personally,
or don't like.
I agree with you that being a digital entrepreneur can create a loneliness in the sense that it's hard to find like-minded people that have the same job as you, because it's very rare to have your business only from your laptop. Most people work so-called normal jobs, right, where they cannot just go anywhere at any point in time and cannot choose their work hours. So personally, I'm from Sweden, and most of my Swedish friends, they have totally different jobs, which means that I don't really have any colleagues, so to speak. So whenever I go to conferences and I meet like-minded people, it's such a huge boost for my own mindset, meeting like-minded people, sharing thoughts and ideas, and we have so much in common, these people, on these Bitcoin conferences, because we both enjoy Bitcoin and macroeconomics and all of that stuff that I talk about on my channel, but also the fact that most of us have a similar lifestyle, traveling and networking and building cool stuff.
Can you, before, I'd like to hear also from Chris and DIDI, but before we move on, you said something that's very interesting, and it might be surprising to a lot of people who are watching this. You said back home you don't have any colleagues, and it might be surprising because, like, in our world, you're famous. You're a crypto. So you have this huge online community of almost 90,000 people that are listening to what you have to say. And so, can you talk about, like, your feeling, the difference between having an online community versus a physical community?
Yeah, so I have almost 90,000 followers on YouTube and like 20,000 on Twitter, and that sounds like a lot, and that is a lot. But I don't really see that in the real world. The only engagement or the only interaction I get with my followers is usually very basic comments, and I respond with comments, and that's of course a nice interaction, but it's very limited. It's hard to have conversations with my followers, and it's also hard to have conversations with my business colleagues like Chris and these other people over the internet. The time that I really get a nice interaction with people is at these conferences, where I do meet followers. They come up to me and say, "Hey Carl, I love your videos," and we can talk about stuff, and I really love hearing my followers talk about my videos. And also I meet people like Chris and DIDI and yourself, people with very similar lifestyle, similar business, and that's when I get so much value. So that's also why I'm excited for trying this Copenhagen lifestyle with meeting more digital entrepreneurs in many different, it doesn't have to necessarily be crypto, but we all share the same mindset, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you here, for sure. DIDI, you've been coming here for quite a while. You just got back from a big tour. I know you're going to be here for at least a couple months. You brought your beautiful family. I love them. Tell us about your experience.
So yeah, for me it's different. I always was an entrepreneur. So I always was a boss in my life. I never worked for a guy. So there was always a distance between me and the employees, and it's never been like colleagues. And I'm traveling with a family of 5. So but of course, if I talk Bitcoin every day to my wife and my 3 kids, they are like, "Daddy, man, please shut up and let's just go swim or do this."
Yeah.
So I'm always looking forward to just meet guys like you. And I call this island Sticky Island. You just stick, you come and you stick, and you don't want to go, and then you meet people who you don't expect to meet. I came here, I know you was here, I know Lex was here, I didn't know that they were going to come.
Yeah.
And then they invite me to their beautiful house, and then from a few meetings on conferences to digital contact with tweets, now you hang out. And you really start to understand each other's mind, passion, and goal in this industry. So I think that is really important. People need to understand the goal of all those influencers in this industry. We all have the same goal. We want this beautiful technical evolution to create a revolution that will, disrupt the monetary system in some kind of way to get a little bit more freedom ourselves. So yeah, we are the lucky ones that already have a little bit freedom because we took it. I heard his private story, how it all started.
Yeah.
I'm not going to discuss it because you need to sell his book. He's going to write a book about it, I think. It's amazing to see how you can start from that point to become what you are now for the crypto industry.
Yeah.
It's the same for all of us. So I think we just have this message we want to support, and we do it in all kinds of ways. I agree fully with you both. Every time when I'm here, last time we were in Ethiopia, now we are here, you hang around with more projects and more people, those moments I learn, those moments I educate myself, those moments we bring each other to a higher level of understanding what we are doing in this world.
We're all just kind of figuring it out as we go.
It's new, it's a brand new industry. So yeah, I love it here.
Open source and collaborative for sure. It's amazing to have this community and have that vibe. Chris, we have met quite a few times at different conferences, but the reason that you're here today is quite a unique story and one of the greater powers of the universe. Yeah, want to tell people why you're here today and
Wow, it's
how we kind of met again.
It's the butterfly effect. So we met at each and every conference, but we never really knew who the other person really is or what we are really doing, just a little bit. But then one day for vacation, I came here to Kopangan with a ferry. And on this specific ferry, I made the decision, should I take the 12 o'clock ferry or the 3 o'clock ferry? And I said, I think it was the 12 o'clock one. However, it was the same one you were on.
Yeah.
And then going out, I just heard someone screaming like, Chris. I thought it's a follower or so. And then I saw you and we talked a little bit. You invited us to your house of DAO with all your great people. And I don't know, then we met. We came back. I came back with Kyle here for the conference, a meetup, and you were there once again, and you invited us to Kopangan.
Came back to Pattaya.
To Pattaya, yeah, where the conference was at.
Right.
And then you joined us for 2 days. You invited us to Kopangan, and the second time I'm actually here, that's the time I really fell in love with that place. You asked the question before what they love about it. Everything. In my opinion, last year I had like 50 flights, and I was at so many places even before, like since 20 years I'm traveling, right? So since I'm a small little child. And Kopangan is by far the nicest place in the world I've ever been to because you can combine everything. The food is amazing. The people, all the internationals, but also the Thai people are completely amazing. I had not even one moment of bad vibe here. Like I'm cutting someone with my scooter like irresponsibly. The people are still very nice. I'm so sorry for it. But everyone is very nice. You have a lot of digital nomads, entrepreneurs, crypto people, a lot of YouTubers, influencers from all different angles, and good infrastructure, good Wi-Fi, good data. There's not a lot of traffic. Like 70% is jungle, right? So it's just an amazing island. I can't imagine any better place in the world for crypto, for digital nomads, for entrepreneurs and wannabe entrepreneurs. It's just a really, really nice place to be at. So I'm very grateful for that experience. And we are leaving very soon, but I will come back very, very soon.
Yeah. What about this house you guys have? It's going to be lonely without you over here.
When I come back, we will just try to get it back and rent it for as long as possible because it's a magical place.
It's a magical place for sure. I am pretty happy because there is a digital nomad site that kind of is a guide for people who want to be nomadic called nomadlist.com. And when I first decided to make this place our first kind of community, it was, it was number 35, 40, something like that in the whole world as far as the nomadlist.com kind of gives a bunch of feedback on things like air quality, infrastructure for being nomad, cost of living, English speaking, blah, blah, whatever. But we just as of today, we're number 4 in the whole world.
Yeah, it became number 4 in the whole world.
That is tremendous.
It's a question of time that it will be number 1.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what I'm thinking. It is. and this is why I think that like we need to have a community of like get some investments over here, build a big community, make it number one place, and then we'll look at other places down the line. But and this is something DD and I have known for quite a while. This is the best place in the world, and it has all the infrastructure we need to build to do what we do. And now it's starting to spread. I've always been early to things. I did the Bitcoin lottery way too early for it to be successful, but it's interesting. Like I'm just early. Okay, so I guess let's talk about something that people might want to are curious about. I mean, I guess you guys already did videos today. Yeah.
I will do it very soon.
Okay.
I think you did yours already.
I did.
You want to give us a sneak peek into what your video will be about?
Yeah, sure. So it will be with DaVinci J15, and we will discuss a little bit of the macroeconomics, the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates, the stock markets crashing, and the interconnection between the stock markets, the traditional markets, and Bitcoin, and our thoughts on that.
Nice. And okay, cool. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about right now. I guess people are a bit uncertain. I mean, in my perspective, we have so much infrastructure built up for the adoption of, for sure, Bitcoin and Ethereum is getting massive infrastructure as well. But let's focus on Bitcoin. What do you guys think? Short term right now caused this kind of. We had so much bullish momentum, right? Like it hit 10K. Everyone's fired up. Like I've been waiting for us to get out of the bear market for a long time. It's been painful. Everybody was fired up, right? We're over 10K, and now everyone's just kind of slumping again right now, and a bit of stagnation. What do you think, DD? What do you think caused it, or how do you feel about it?
As you know, I'm not really like into the price. For me, it's really true fundamentals. That's what I like about Bitcoin and blockchain. For me, it's a revolution. I love, of course, I'm getting, if Bitcoin goes up, I'm like, wow, finally, it's cool, and it makes life cheaper for us as a family because we live solely on crypto. I don't have any bank accounts, so for me, it's okay when it goes up, but when it goes down, I'm also happy. I'm just very thankful, happy to be here with all those people, and in my opinion, it's just, it's always the market. It's all the Elliott wave or whatever wave, or it always goes up, retrace, go up, retrace. I think we will be around 10K till the halving. Like the last two halvings have been proving us that up to the halving nothing happens. It's always the year after the halving that the bull run starts. So in my opinion, I'm just singing it out here on Kopangan till May, and then the halving will turn, and then the year after probably Bitcoin goes up, and if it goes up, we are lucky, and we start chilling more, and more people will gonna then become happy because we are all, most of us are very materialistic people that just get happy when Bitcoin goes up, and not because Bitcoin has more adoption or because Litecoin signed a contract now that they have, like, you can buy Litecoin in 13,000 ATMs since today in Korea. You don't hear tweets about it. You just see Litecoin Foundation tweeting it. So the adoption is not that important to the mass of our community. It's more the price. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just how it is.
I feel the same way you do, but we do have a couple of experts in the house who are much more in tune to what's going on a day-to-day basis than we are. So like Carl, how do you feel like short term right now? What's going on?
So I think the halving is something that is very understated. I think it's a huge deal, and I know that people are talking about it, but the most comments I hear is just having this, having that, but people are not focusing on the fundamental reason why the halving is so important. It's the supply. The newly created supply will be cut in half, and it happens every 4 years. It only happened twice so far. And both of these two times, the Bitcoin price rallied like crazy in the following years. And the reason for this is that Bitcoin is unique because it is the only asset in the whole world where we have an inflation schedule which is already predestined. It's the supply in the future is more predictable than anything else. It's actually so predictable that you can know pretty much exactly how many Bitcoins will be available at any given point in time in the future, even 50 years from now. Now that is something that you cannot get from even gold, for example. If the price of gold were to double tomorrow, more people would mine gold. and the inflation would actually go up. And let's also take a look at fiat. The dollar, for example, there's nothing stopping the Fed from doubling the dollar supply, and the same goes for the Swedish krona and for all the other national currencies in the world. So all of these different things that we call money and we previously called money, like fiat and gold, have a either unpredictable or pretty predictable supply, but Bitcoin has this perfectly predictable or supply, and this makes Bitcoin unique because Bitcoin is the only asset also in the world that will ever get a 0% inflation. That is something that cannot happen outside of the digital world. And I mean, gold has a big market cap because of its low inflation. It's a controlled inflation, even though it's not perfectly predictable. But Bitcoin has or will eventually reach 0%, and there's nothing else that has that feature.
Tell us about the like, miners are incredibly important, right? And so how much hash power is coming in, how much ASICs are online, whatever. How do you feel about the sentiment or the business plan for a miner? People always talk about how people shut off their mining rigs because it becomes unprofitable to mine at a certain point, or it hits a certain price, whatever. What do you feel like? We don't really know the exact strategy from like big, huge mining things like Bitmain and stuff, but imagine that before they were selling a bunch. If they're mining 1,000 Bitcoin a day, maybe they're selling 1,000 of them. I don't know. But as it becomes more scarce and rare, how much do you think they'll end up selling? Like, especially after the halving, do you think that'll change? I mean, because they're also selling. And the point is that this is new. If there's 1,000 new Bitcoin being sold on the market openly every day, that's 1,000 flooding the market.
I think it's 1,800.
Okay, yeah. So I just pulled that out of my ass, but 1,800.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1,800, and that's going out. So a lot of people that mine it, they're gonna hold on to it because they see the appreciation. But there are companies who have shareholders, who have equity stakeholders, who expect to get profit from it, and it's strictly a business to them. So they are mining and selling, just like they do. If you're mining gold, you're mining it and selling it, and that's flooding the market, right? So.
Well, in this sense, the halving is actually a good thing because the newly created supply will be cut in half. So these 1,800 Bitcoins that are generated now will be cut down to 900.
The most important thing, I mean, you already explained the halving perfectly. There's not a lot of stuff to add. One thing, however, so when the inflation will get cut in half, this will be the first time actually the Bitcoin inflation will go below the target inflation of the central banks, let it be the ECB or the Federal Reserve, and they say 2% is the target inflation. Of course, it's not 2%. It's like 6, 8, even 10% if you calculate it extremely correctly. However, they are excluding many stuff which is actually getting much more expensive. They are including a lot of things like, I don't know, telecommunication, which is getting cheaper. However, if you would include everything, it would be like 6, 8, or 10. If you take the 2%, which is very optimistic, even Bitcoin's inflation rate after the halving will be lower than that. With 900 Bitcoin per day, we will have, I think, 1.8%, or I don't know. It's below 2%. And this is already very, very, very valuable. Bitcoin is already not as inflationary as fiat, and it will be even more scarce after the halving. And it's converging. The inflation rate is converging towards zero, and will end up at zero at the year of 2130, I think.
Yeah. I think that people don't understand that the last Bitcoin will be mined in 2040. I think.
Yeah, 40 years. Yes.
People don't even know this. So yeah, I think. For me, it's like Kyle was just asking a question, and then this question pops up in my mind, because you're not only in the crypto markets, you are also really interested in the normal stock market and all the printing of the Fed and all that stuff. So, in your opinion, is the printing of money more and more just print? Is it good for Bitcoin or bad for Bitcoin? Is it good because now everybody can buy more Bitcoin with free money, or is it bad?
I want to say I think it's a very good thing for Bitcoin because as the confidence is lost in the major currencies, then people will look for alternatives. And when a currency collapses due to the flaw, that is that someone can print it, then people logically will look for something that is not printable or harder to print. Gold is of course a logical answer, and Bitcoin is maybe the best answer because it's actually impossible to inflate beyond the 21 million limit. So I think that the more people lose confidence in the governments controlling the money, the more people will look towards decentralized currencies where no one is in charge. And so far, Bitcoin has only been around in a bull market. I mean, it was created during the financial crisis. It did not have any attention at all back then. Very few people even knew about it. And the biggest attention that Bitcoin has had is when the stock markets have been roaring and people are very confident that this is just going to go on forever. So the question is, what happens when this reverses and we see a big financial crisis? And what happens if we see a big currency crisis where the dollar collapses or loses confidence? And I truly believe that Bitcoin would have a great chance of taking a large portion of this pool of value that is stored up in fiat currencies. And currently that's approximately $90 trillion stored up in fiat currencies. And let's say Bitcoin takes just a few percent of this. That's still a very, very big chunk of money. But I think that Bitcoin, being, in my opinion, the best form of money that is around today, could potentially, in the end game scenario, absorb all of this money. And in that case, Bitcoin could reach millions of dollars per Bitcoin. 4 to 5 million is actually possible. Might sound crazy, but also I would sound crazy if I back in 2013 said that Bitcoin at $100 would be $20,000. That would be maybe crazier because back then Bitcoin didn't have the infrastructure or the institutions even paying the least attention to it. Today Bitcoin has so much more going for it, so I think that the momentum that Bitcoin has already built up might as well just continue, because in trading there's a very common rule that the trend is your friend. And the trend in Bitcoin, overwhelmingly, very obviously, is to the upside year over year, even though we see these short-term corrections after this big bubble pop we see every now and then. But yeah, a financial crisis is a good thing for Bitcoin, and I believe that Bitcoin will be worth much, much, much more in the future.
I have a question for you guys. How much fiat? How much of your net worth is in fiat? And how much is in crypto?
Of my net worth in fiat right now, it's maybe 8%.
8%.
Yeah, no,
Carl?
92 is Bitcoin.
For me, it's considerably lower. I don't know the exact percentage, but
It's extremely low.
it's extremely low. I only keep enough fiat in the bank that I feel like I can afford to lose.
Wow, that was a good one. That was a good one.
It's a total opposite.
Whoa, that was a good one.
And that I need for daily living, paying bills
Wow.
and stuff. So
That was so good.
yeah.
Didi?
Yeah, same here. I don't even own bank accounts anymore, so I have a few hundred Thai baht.
Yeah.
I don't know. My wife now has a few hundred Thai baht. I don't even have that one anymore. So no, we are still all in, you know. And yeah, we just play the trading game by now and then you're exchanging the Bitcoin to US dollar Tether or Pax or whatever, and
Yeah.
buy back lower, you know. But for me, the game is do not touch the banking system anymore. So if I need to buy coupons online and spend them here in the supermarket, I will do that. If any kind of creative way, do not touch the bank. I have tried it the last 3 years all over the world. It works. We've been proving it. We
Yeah.
live on cryptocurrency.
So yeah, I have just some bots. Like that's it. I've been went all in actually in Bitcoin in 2013, everything, and it's never looked back since. Next election, United States, McAfee or Trump?
I mean,
For
looking
president,
at
you're talking
Yeah,
about
for president, of course.
of the states.
Yeah.
I know you like McAfee, but I made an interview with him. I met him in Malta. He's a cool guy, actually. Nice to talk to. But recently, with his bashing on Bitcoin, with me knowing that he loves Bitcoin, he's doing it maybe only for attention. And then all the drug stories, I would think that Trump would be a more responsible, even Trump would be a more responsible president for the United States of America than McAfee. But I'm not a US citizen, I'm not voting, so I will not make a choice here, but I think you can read the subtext here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carl?
I don't feel like I have a good opinion on this. I mean, politically, I try to stay away from talking. I mean,
Okay, do it more in the context of what we all care about, the Bitcoin and...
so personally, I would love to see a US president who is pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto, and
We had this guy who just dropped out, right? He was
Andrew Yang?
Andrew, yeah.
Yeah.
Super unfortunate.
Yeah, he was pro Bitcoin.
yeah. So I mean, and then again, I don't even think that would. It could help Bitcoin in the short term, but in the long run, it does not matter if the president is pro or not pro Bitcoin.
How about just talking about McAfee's? What do you think about McAfee as a influencer in the crypto space?
Yeah, I mean, well, where to start? I mean, he has so many interesting videos with very, very weird and interesting topics. Many of them have nothing to do with crypto at all.
Like Chris's favorite.
I mean, they might be entertaining from time to time, but as an influencer in crypto, I'm not sure if he's adding any value at all. But for pure entertainment purposes, yeah, I mean, he's a funny guy.
Didi?
Yeah, I think he is important for the crypto, because if you look at the crypto space at our community, and look what we all do, and how the marketing machine is working, and how everybody is shilling all the coins, and how many money is given away to advertise and everything, we are still not able to reach that huge amount of people, really. And I think the only way we can reach the people that watch Netflix is through like entertainment, info entertainment, and I think McAfee is an example of a guy who does strange things, but I love the way he thinks about revolution and decentralizing the world, and other people that maybe are like just into economics or like still into his McAfee virus system, they will see him talking about Bitcoin. Like I have seen Trump just making one tweet about Bitcoin last year, and that got a lot of attention, a lot of people. So we need this mass media entertaining people, rappers, all the singers, the pop stars, to get into it, and they are slowly getting into it, and then Bitcoin will become popular on the TikTokers and all the youth, and they grow up with it, and then
it's not only for McAfee, it's not only his message about Bitcoin, but it's screw the government, like screw the systems, do what you own your own money, own your own privacy. Like it's this radical way of thinking that needs to shake the shit out of people and say wake up, and like this is my opinion anyway.
I know we don't have much time, but just like the stupidest question maybe, because you're very intelligent economics. Why is it so that the tax system is not just changed? I did a presentation for the tax company in the Netherlands, the government, and they asked me, yes, how would you solve it? How would you treat Bitcoin? And I told them, you can only treat them like the same as black money. If people are happy to tell them they have like money in their sock at home, you get taxed it. If people don't say it, you cannot knock every door and check if there's money. That's then like digital money. So, but then I asked them the question, why don't you change the tax system? How? So why don't you just tax people on their spendings? Why would you tax people up front? Why don't you just tax on spendings? More on spending, and then if money is black, yellow, green, Bitcoin, Litecoin, whatever currency, they will be always paying tax. And you will always be collecting tax. So what is it
That's a much better approach. I think that for taxes it's just a very undynamic topic for governments, and many governments, they are very scared to make any decisions for tax laws, especially when it's attached to a new technology like blockchain or Bitcoin. And that's why they are always waiting for the big players to go first, and then the other ones are trickling down and copying the bigger ones. And as long as the bigger ones are not clearly saying what's going to happen, we will not see the smaller ones following them. And I agree completely with you. I think the current laws are not good. However, if you're a citizen, you have to stick to it. and it's sad as it is. I think we just have to give it time because, as I said, it's undynamic, and it takes much time, even more time than adopting the technology. It seems like.
So Chris, I know that you got to go. You got a Da Vinci interview to do, or
Yes.
your channel. So before you leave, just please tell us. I would like to hear your thoughts on the Bitcoin price by the end of the next bull run, and also I'd like to hear your most important secret or tip to anyone who's getting in the industry or hasn't learned all the lessons the hard way themselves, like most of us have. So just Bitcoin price by the end of the next bull run, and one tip, pro tip, or secret kind of insider tip.
So Bitcoin price in the end of the next bull run, I've been saying a lot of times that we might get close to the gold market cap. That would bring us to a price of $300,000-$400,000 per Bitcoin. However, there's a second very valid theory of the super cycle. It's an extremely bullish theory that the next one will be the super cycle, where we actually go into the mainstream, and that will be a massive cycle going to Bitcoin going to 1.2 million, and then it's flattening out. It's like an S-curve. So this is also a valid theory. I think the more likely one is maybe the 300 to 400,000, going close to the Bitcoin market cap. For the halving, the price prediction, I would say I just recently checked the price drawdowns from the all-time high to the halving date were on the first halving 63%, second halving 53%, and right now we are 56% down. So we are actually exactly historical wise where we are supposed to be, and calculating a 50 to 60% drawdown brings us to 8 to 10,000 US dollars. So everything is fine. If we are at 10,000, it's fine. If we are at 8,000, it's fine. I'm very calm when it comes to that. And as a pro tip, it's the easiest tip ever, and especially for all the newbies out there. The best thing you can actually do to make sure for 100% you are there when the train leaves is just holding a big chunk of your portfolio in Bitcoin or whatever you like. In our opinion, it's Bitcoin. Just holding, buying and holding, not listening to all the noise out there, just holding it even forever if you really truly believe into Bitcoin, and or holding it until you really think, okay, now like everyone is going crazy and the bull market is about to pop. And by holding, I don't know, 80, 90, 95%, 60%, however your risk profile is. That way you make sure you are part of the next big wave. And if you are a trader, trade either no portion if you are a bad trader, or a small portion of your portfolio. Try to outperform the market, but the vast majority of your portfolio should be a holding portfolio. I truly believe in that. Even the same for me. I mean, the vast majority is in my holding portfolio. I'm not touching it.
Carl? Price end of bull market, pro tip.
I believe that the price of Bitcoin in the next big blow off top, just like the $20,000 blow off top, will probably be somewhere between $100,000 and $100,000 and $400,000. And I understand that that's a huge range, but I think that I guess the conservative view is that I think that the lowest target, in my opinion, should be 100,000.
What about the most optimistic view?
I would say the upper range would be 400,000. I don't think that we're going to go above that in the next blow up top. Then again, Bitcoin tends to surprise us every now and then, so who knows. But I think that based on my analysis, I mean, I don't have any charts right now, so I cannot really show you. But based on the previous returns, and that the bubbles seem to have diminishing returns, these hype cycles, it would seem like it would be reasonable to expect at least $100,000 for the next big blow up top.
That's your optimistic view?
No, that is my conservative view.
Optimistic one.
Yeah, it is
400K.
400. Let's say, I usually say to my subscribers that I personally believe that 250,000 will probably be a happy medium there.
Pro tip?
So yeah, there will probably be another big altcoin boom in the future where altcoins are popping and altcoins are going to go up 10x in just a few weeks, and that is going to lead to huge speculation where people buy coins not based on any kind of knowledge or insight, but purely based on FOMO and hype. And that's very, very dangerous, even though it could be lucrative for some people when you're lucky. But I want to emphasize the word lucky. There's no one, I mean, there's no one who can fundamentally invest in altcoins in a profitable way long term. I think the whole altcoin boom we saw in 2017 was pure hype and FOMO, and short-term trades, that's something else. But if you want to build a portfolio for the long term, I would suggest that you always hold at least 80% Bitcoin and keep that in Bitcoin. And then you can look into some altcoins, maybe gamble a little bit, because I view that as a gamble if you don't know what you're doing, and most people do not know what they are doing. And if you're holding more than 10 altcoins, then I know for a fact that you have no idea what you're doing, because there's no way that you can be knowledgeable and have insights in all of these 10 projects to the point where it's reasonable to invest. There's so much research that goes into investing, and I mean, I know people from stock and equities, they would need weeks and months maybe to gain knowledge before investing in a stock. And now people go and buy altcoins from day to day just looking at pretty pictures on websites and listening to like a YouTube video. So that is my pro tip. Don't fall for FOMO, and be cautious, and maybe no more than 5 altcoins. That's already maybe too many, but choose very carefully, somewhere between 1 to 5 altcoins, and the rest, 80% of your crypto net worth should be in Bitcoin. And I feel like that's the safe play.
And only hold as much fiat as you're willing to lose.
Yes, I mean, we can see historic
pro tip ever.
Yeah. I mean, historically we can see that the banking system is not very reliable. 2008 showed us that our money is not really our money; it's actually the banking system's money. And only if they allow us to withdraw the money, can we actually take out the money. But let's not trust too much on the banking system. I trust in Bitcoin.
Didi?
I'm going for my lucky number, so it's going to be 111,111,11. So that will be the top. That's my lucky number 11. And if it goes higher, I'm happy. And if you don't reach that as well,
Pro tip.
Don't focus too much on Bitcoin and everything. It's just a small part of life. Focus on living life as well. Don't forget to put your feet in the sand and the sea and all that stuff. Enjoy life. And if you have all that shit in your house, and you have 3 cars and a motorcycle and 4 quads and 6 bicycles, sell a few of them and buy 1 Bitcoin. Just make sure you diversify your portfolio in stocks, in your banks, whatever you believe in, and then just include Bitcoin, just 1.
I think it's amazing advice. That's something that we sometimes get wrapped up in what's going on, and even though we were blessed with an opportunity that our parents' generation didn't get. Nobody really on earth has ever had opportunity, except for if you were involved in the gold rush early on. But
You were selling shovels.
And you were selling shovels, exactly. Yeah. Then we all saw this kind of early, and it's still very, very early. But we get so wrapped up in it, a lot of us forget to live our life, and we're very fortunate to be in the positions that we are, where we don't have 9-to-5 desk jobs and banging our head against the wall. And part of what I'm trying to do and what Didi's trying to do, and I think you guys now are inspired to do as well, is try to help other people live a different type of life, and realize that they don't have to have the life that is preached to us from the time we're babies in our industrialized nations, and the kind of systems that we're brought up to believe are true, or the way that think that life is. It's much better. Didi, what an inspiration you are for your kids, and the way that you're doing it. I mean, your kids are intelligent, social, awesome, just really, really impressive. And when I have kids one day, this is also what I want to do it in our community that we build.
I think that's the message out there. You need to lead by example.
Yeah.
Don't talk the talk, walk the walk. And then now I'm speaking to the community that's only talking the talk. Walk the walk.
So it's my last pro tip and wild speculation is Chris, I really like what you said about what is it called? The massive adoption is S curve. Is there a name for that?
Yeah, it's a super cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for this because I always say it's like a game of musical chairs. When people start getting interested and realize just how difficult it is to get one whole Bitcoin, it's going to be a money grab at the end of the day. Everyone's just going to try to grab it, and there's not going to be anything left to grab. So people are going to be like, can I buy a Bitcoin off you? People are just going to be like, no, please, no, you can't have one. I'm not selling to you ever, and this is going to happen. This is when, okay, how about 200% above price? No, I don't want to go sell you my Bitcoin and then have to go hassle about trying to buy another one. this is going to happen sooner or later. I don't know if it's going to be this cycle or next one, but it's an incredibly interesting, and well said way that you put it. My pro tip, I guess, would just be, oh, get it.
That would be the real FOMO.
my pro tip would just be like, do your research, but if you haven't read Satoshi white paper, like, go read it and understand the technology that you're investing in, because if you understand it from a fundamental perspective, you won't have FOMO, you won't get wrecked, you won't be so emotional. Like, I read the Satoshi white paper like 8 times in 2013, and I fully understood what it was, and all it has to do is survive in order to become adopted and appreciate in value over time. It's simple. It's simple economics, simple mathematics. Like, just read the Satoshi white paper and understand it. There's 99.9% of people in the industry probably have not read the white paper before, and that's why people get emotional. They don't understand. They're just going off of what they've heard other people regurgitate, and they don't trust other people. Do your research, make your own decision, and make your own your own choices basically, and your own investments. And I would love to see people get more involved, because this is something that everyone can do. Everyone can get involved, even if you don't love the technology. Maybe you're an artist. You can come be an artist. You can be an attorney. You can be, if you love to throw parties, you can throw conferences or parties, whatever it is. Like, you have an opportunity to get involved and be one of the first people in the world to do this. It's so hard. The competition is so immense in the other industries, but you come do what you love to do in our huge ecosystem. I mean, it's a tiny one now, but there's a lot of opportunity here, not just if you're the technology or investment perspective, but throwing parties, like singing.
I think this villa is a beautiful spot for a party, Chris.
It is, yeah. Let's speaking of, okay, we got to go. Chris has got his video, and we have an amazing family dinner coming up tonight. Let's go enjoy that. But you guys, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Carl and Chris, thanks for your hospitality and hosting us here tonight.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I guess.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye. Buy Bitcoin.